Hi there, and warm welcome to everyone who's watching live, and obviously anyone else who's going to be joining us later. So we're broadcasting today to talk about the GEG program, and there was an official relaunch that happened in Chicago prior to ISTE, but this isn't a US-centric thing. This is a global program, and we're really excited to share some of the new additions to the GEG program that GEG leaders can take advantage of. And we look forward to seeing those opportunities filter down to GEG members. So following a process of review, the GEG program was relaunched in Chicago, as I said. And what we're looking to do is share some of the resources that came out of the areas for improvement that were identified in that review process. So GEG leaders can take advantage of new events, a new community platform, and wider involvement from other members to grow that leadership capacity within the GEG communities that exist around the world. Today's broadcast is meant to be focused around Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Though obviously anyone sort of who can understand me in English can happily join it and find out a bit more. We do have a Spanish version of this going out on the 17th of August, and we're looking to also offer it in a few other languages as well. So be really keen if any GEG leaders in particular parts of the world want to pick this up and deliver this to their own sort of community in their native language, then we're more than happy to work with you to share the content and have you share that more widely. So without further ado, let's talk about the Google Educator Program so far. So we're really fortunate to have over 100 countries have GEG representation, which covers approximately 100,000 GEG members altogether, with over 1,200 GEG leaders. And what we want to do is continue to build on the work that committed GEG leaders are doing already. We want to give GEG leaders the opportunity to more easily record their activity. We want GEG leaders to have the opportunity to utilize those 100,000 members more easily, and continue to build a thriving community of people talking about using technology in the classroom. So Google for Education is very proud of this grassroots movement, which exists to support the use of G Suite, Chromebooks, and other technologies in the classroom. So it's really important that we find ways to support GEG leaders. And that's what this relaunch is all about. So it turns out there were some particular challenges that existed. And what we're going to do is look at each of those challenges and some of the solutions that we're looking to put in place for GEG leaders to take advantage of, for new GEGs to start existing in places where they're needed or required. It may also be that some GEG leaders have moved on, don't have the bandwidth anymore, and you want to transition that leadership or grow that leadership and really take advantage of those amazing people that are in your community and want to share. So those are some of the things we'll have a look at. Just to give you some background though, the GEG program relaunch, so some of you may be familiar if you're trainers or innovators, or particularly if you're GEG leaders, with Justin Lackap. So he communicates with all of those teams via a Google group, and we'll update you on everything going on in that Google world. Eileen Apollo is the Googler who's going to be specifically leading the GEG program. So she was there from the very beginning. She worked with Google groups related to developers, business, and then sprung out of that an educator group. So the Google Educator groups, she's been there since the very beginning and is very passionate about the project. You may hear from myself, Ben Rouse, Alison Molliker, who's our US-based sort of program manager. We've got Dean Stokes. James Sayo is dealing with the onboarding. So if you're looking to start a new GEG, then James would be the one managing that process. And then Daniela is based in Peru and sort of is going to be delivering the version of this in Spanish for some of Latin America. And we're keen to also provide this in Portuguese for those in Brazil as well. So those links below, we've got the Cloud Connect community, we've got a leader portal, and then we've got an email address where you can contact us. All of those links will be up again later on in the broadcast. So if you don't manage to sort of get a note of them now, don't worry, they're coming back again. But those are the three sort of key areas for communication. And I'll talk in a bit more detail about the first two, the community and the leader portal, in a moment. So as I said, there was a review that took place. So some of you may have noticed sort of GEG-wise, it went a bit quiet for a while. And that was while we spoke to a number of GEG leaders around the world and tried to understand the pain, the gain, and the ways in which the GEG program was working really well, the areas where there was a bit of a challenge. And what we discovered was that one of the main challenges was leader bandwidth. So for any GEG leader watching, I think you're probably abundantly aware that this is a volunteer role that you take on. While there are some benefits along the way, you have to manage a full-time job, responsibilities, and all the rest of it alongside leading a GEG. So we want to look at increasing the time available to sustain a thriving community. So we'll look at some solutions around leader bandwidth and how we can support GEG leaders to have a thriving community that does not sort of mean that they give up all of their free time. As part of that, there's obviously events. So through the Edu Activity app, and again, trainers and innovators will be familiar with the Edu Activity app, where you record your training and innovation projects, but also GEG leaders are required to visit the Edu Activity app and record events. So what we want to do is both provide a set of events that you can pick up and go with to make it easier for you as a GEG leader to have events happening for your members to attend. And we also want to provide some events that are not necessarily traditionally find a venue, everyone goes there. There might be some other ways that let's get creative about what an event is and recording that through the Edu Activity app to remain an active GEG leader. Because our aim is to have all GEG leaders as active as possible. And providing events and engaging your members that way is one of the ways you can do that. Then we've got community content. So one of the day-to-day sort of approaches for a GEG is to have a Google Plus community where there's relevant, interesting, and engaging content for members to engage, to look at and engage with. So we don't want to put the burden all on a GEG leader to post endless bits of information to that. There are some great examples, particularly in Europe, where there are communities that are busy communities, lots of people posting, but we also want to provide members and GEG leaders with some relevant content. So we're going to look at ways in which we can keep on top of the new developments and share with your local communities. And that involves sharing a newsletter. So we'll talk about the newsletter that's going out to GEG leaders soon. And then finally, the four main challenges, the last one is leader development. So it's obviously great that GEG leaders are supporting in growing their community, in bringing new members into the Google Educator groups, supporting those new members with whether it be tips about using Google Classroom, about enrolling Chromebooks, and some of the technical bits as well. So that's great. But then where are Google Educator Group leaders getting their development from? How can we support them in developing their leadership of a community like this? So we're also looking at opportunities for GEG leaders' professional development as well. So those are the four key areas that we identified as the main challenges around the Google Educator Group program. And we're going to talk now about some of the solutions that we're putting in place. Now, much of this is open to feedback from GEG leaders. The needs of a GEG leader in England, Scotland, in Norway, in South Africa, and anywhere in between are going to be very different. The context is very different. The education systems are very different. So what we need to stress from this point onwards is what you'll see is some suggestions for solutions you can put in place. But if it's working for you, don't feel the need to change. And it's not a mandated thing. You don't have to take on all of these developments. And as we go through, we want to hear from you about the things that are working and your suggestions and ideas as well. So starting with leader bandwidth. So the role of GEG leader, Google Educator Group leader, is an established one. So from the very beginning, you could be nominated by a Google certified trainer, innovator, or partner to be a GEG leader for a particular region. And that still exists. There's a nomination form which GEG leaders can access via the portal, which has also been sent out to the innovator and trainer groups as well. So GEG leaders can be nominated to take leadership over a Google Educator group in their community. But what we found is that those individual leaders where there's one leader trying to grow a community is that provides a lot of challenges. So one of the first introductions under the relaunch is new roles to grow the leadership capacity within communities. So there are 4 Google Educator Group captains, and we've taken the 4 sort of words from the tagline for Google Educator Groups, which is empower, inspire, share, and learn. So those 4 captains will have responsibilities for developing leadership within the group, for putting on and running events, for sharing content to the community, and for supporting the certification process for members in the GEG community, where new members who are starting to use G Suite can get support to get through level 1, level 2, and maybe even go on to become trainers and innovators as well. And just on a separate point, you may have noticed that the applications are now open for the Innovator Academy that's taking place in Copenhagen. So look out for that, because it's a really exciting opportunity for anyone with level 1 and level 2 certification to pick themselves an innovation project and go along to pretty much the best professional development of your life in terms of growing a network. So those are one of the ways that GEG leaders can now grow. So if you are an individual GEG leader trying to grow a community, then one of the first things you can do is head to the leader portal, which I'll show you later, and you can nominate your 4 captains to take on those roles and support you in that leadership and basically start building a leadership team. Once you've got your leadership team in place, and by the way, the reason that we focused on leadership bandwidth first is that where we see successful Google Educator groups that are able to have a thriving online community, thriving events that are well attended, it's because they have a larger leadership team that is supporting that community. Which brings us on to events. So if you can grow your leadership capacity, then it also allows you to put on more events and engage your members with like real amazing opportunities for them to come along, meet together online or offline, and learn. So under the events, we now at the moment have 4 events in a box that are available to GEG leaders through the leadership portal, where you can pick them up and deliver them. So they, if you'll see on the left-hand side, we've got CS first. So there's a document with a schedule, with a post that you can put into the Google Plus community to advertise it, and all the bits that you would need to deliver that session. This one is based on the CS First sort of computer science curriculum that's available online. So you can bring your members together and start to learn about quality computer science learning that doesn't always need to be delivered by an expert. Now, being based in the UK, there is a challenge with delivering CS First for having teachers with a full and in-depth understanding of computer science. It's a really difficult area to maintain. So it's a great opportunity for you to bring your members in and show them the resources and have them understand that they, as a primary teacher, as a secondary teacher who's not a computer science specialist, could deliver that content. So there's one option for GEG leaders to pick up and run with as an event. The next one is applied digital skills. So actually look out for some applied digital skills pilots in the UK coming up in the autumn, and potentially across the rest of Europe as well. So applied digital skills is an online curriculum where you work, the students can work through videos and plan projects, do budget related activities, all through G Suite tools. So for those of you already using G Suite, there's a great opportunity to gather your GEG members together, have a look at the applied digital skills and plan how they can take that back into their organizations, their classrooms, and deliver a really great curriculum to the students. And it's also, you could deliver it to your community, whether that be parents, particular adult groups in the community, it might actually be something that digital leaders want to take on. And then the final one I want to make you aware of is the leadership camp. So GEG Chicagoland, based in Chicago, have been running the leadership camp for a couple of years. And this involves gathering their members together in one place. And they spend a day essentially doing a design sprint, where in the morning they identify key challenges for education in their particular community. And then they spend the rest of the day generating ideas, prototypes, and testing out events that could address those challenge areas. So what GEG Chicagoland have managed to do is, along with the leaders who create events, their GEG members are creating events as well, which has enabled them to have a really thriving set of events throughout the year. So it's a great opportunity, this event here, for a GEG leader to pick this up, locate a venue, and we want to hear from you about locating venues and how we can help as well, and deliver this and have you basically tap into your greatest resource, your members. So all of those events are available by the leadership portal, which I will mention in a moment and remind you of the links for GEG leaders to get at. Moving on, we've got community content. So part of generating this community is having content that engages everyone to share, to comment. So to support with that, we've introduced a fortnightly, when this broadcast went out in the US, fortnightly apparently isn't a word there. Hopefully it translates reasonably well across this region, but just in case fortnightly is not a word in your vocabulary, that means every 2 weeks. So we've got a newsletter that's going out to GEG leaders. If you are a GEG leader and you haven't seen this come into your inbox, look out for emails from Justin Lacap. And it might be that you're not receiving it because you've become inactive via not sort of recording things on the Edu Activity app. But we've got a communication channel where you can let us know if you think you've fallen off that communication link, and we can add you back on. So the newsletter will contain product updates. We've got posts about events that are coming up. We've got a GEG showcase that we put in there so you can learn about other GEGs around the world and what they're doing. We're also going to showcase all of the events so you can get an insight into how they could be used as well. So that newsletter goes out every 2 weeks. And in fact, we'll be going out later today. So keep an eye on your inboxes for the latest newsletter, GEG Leaders. And finally, leader development. We want to support GEG leaders in developing their leadership skills and being confident in taking this forward. So GEG leadership might be a step towards many other things, and we want to help you develop those skills as you go and sort of build up your leadership abilities. So in addition to the GEG captains, we're also introducing a GEG mentor role. Rather than being nomination, we're working this on where it's required. So just to give you an example of where the GEG mentor role might fit, we're going to use the example from the Philippines. So the picture at the bottom is from the relaunch event in Chicago. And we were very fortunate to be joined by JD Mercado, who is a GEG leader in the Philippines. So he leads a Google Educator group called Manjalong, which is based in Manila, in the capital of the Philippines. And he is piloting, he is piloting this GEG mentor role. So to give you some context, the Philippines is over 7,000 islands. JD reliably informs me that number goes down if there's a high tide, which is fascinating. Which means that for their Google Educator groups, they're spread across different islands, different contexts, but they're generally city-based. What he's looking to implement is bringing those different GEG leaders together for the whole region under GEG Philippines. And the GEG Philippines will just consist of those GEG leaders. So in July, they're going to meet together and promote that this is happening. And then in August, they're going to relaunch this overarching GEG where he as the mentor can bring together the GEG leaders and have some coordination across all of the different GEGs. And that's going to culminate in a GEG Philippines event in October. What we're trying to do with the GEG program is support JD and the other leaders in the Philippines to make that a successful event. So if your context is that you are an individual GEG leader in a region that could benefit from being brought together. So I've already started a conversation with a GEG leader in the south of Africa where there might be some regional benefits to bringing them together. So again, if you're in a region that would benefit from having an overarching GEG mentor, we'd be really interested in identifying an active and motivated GEG leader who could step up to be a mentor for the region. And we'd want, obviously, that to be something that's supported by the other GEG leaders in the region. So that is a quick snapshot of the challenges and some of the potential solutions that you as a GEG leader can engage with. If you're not a GEG leader and you're watching, by the way, then you might want to become one, or you might want to get in touch with your GEG leader if they're not watching this, and just engage with them about becoming a GEG captain. Or if your GEG leader sort of is struggling to maintain the sort of bandwidth that's needed for this, then obviously if you want to step up into that role, that might be something we can look at as well. So it's now time to have a look at the GEG community. So GEG leaders who are active leaders from the Edu Activity app have been given access to the new beta Cloud Connect community. So this is a new platform that Google are still developing and still working on. And there is a section dedicated to GEG leadership. So GEG leaders should have access. There's a link coming up later, which will take you directly into the GEG leader page. So there's a little snapshot of it. But what I want to do now is come out and show you exactly what that looks like. Bear with me one moment. Okay, so here is the Google Educator Group Leaders section. You've got a homepage, which you'll see when you initially go in as a GEG leader, where there are some selected posts. So you can also, if you didn't get a chance to contribute previously, you can contribute to some of the GEG challenges that came out of the event in Chicago. You'll also see a couple of posts from people asking questions about sort of supporting them with GEG related ones, like finding a location to host an event. The most recent newsletter will always be just underneath that. So we update that once the new newsletter goes out. And if you click over into posts, you get all the posts that are going in there. So you can see that Justin is reliably updating the stream with relevant information. And equally, we've got information about the events that are coming up. And you might also notice on the right-hand side, there's a leaderboard. Unsurprisingly, the GEG program is the largest contributor so far. But if you want to take on Nathan and so Ralph's based is part of GEG Deutschland. So feel free to try and take on some of those guys. And it'd be nice to see some females on that list as well. There's an issue to address. So this is the one place to go for conversation and discussion. And material design means down in the bottom right, there's a plus where you can contribute a post, an idea, an event, if you think that's relevant, but don't worry too much about that, or any questions that you've got. So we really, really want to see as many GEG leaders contribute that as possible. And we really look forward to answering your questions. And the team that you saw earlier will be picking those up. The links on the right, you've got the new teacher center. So formerly the training center, which is now the teaching center, but comes with loads more resources. You've got the Edu Activity app where you can record your activity as a GEG leader or trainer and innovator. And then these other 4 links all take you to the leadership portal. So let's start with events. Okay. So the new leadership portal, hosted on a new Google site rather than a classic Google site like previously, has got leadership related information, has got event related information. We've got sharing information. So that involves both sort of getting to the community, community-based rules and regulations if you need them, and also some of the ways in which you can pick up new skills. So that's both the transformation and teacher centers there. If you've got any questions, there is an FAQ section. But if we just first of all go to events in a box, this is where we are hosting the events that you can pick up and run with. So at the moment, as I said, there's 4. The one I didn't mention earlier was Tour Creator. And we're looking to add more and more to this. For example, if you have a GEG event that you've run that was really successful, we would love to put it onto this portal and make it available to other GEGs. And if you've delivered this in your native language, then just let us have it and we can start to translate that for other languages as well, and just leave it in its native language so people can pick up and go. So if you, for example, decided that the leadership camp was something you wanted to run, then you can click on use it and you'll get the document. So this document was put together by the GEG Chicagoland team. So Jenny, David, Colin, and I really apologize to the 4th member that put it together. I forget the name of, but they put this together. So it's based on their event, and we'd really like to get some contributions from the rest of you. Okay. So the leadership portal and the community are accessible only to GEG leaders. If you think you should have access and you don't, then that's what we're going to get to next, about how you can get in touch and iron out any of these problems about if you've become inactive because not posting the activity in the activity app, or for whatever reason, you're just not on the right lists, and we can all sort that out for you and give you access. Or you might want to prompt your own GEG leader to have a look at the portal in order to add you as a GEG captain. So without further ado, let's get back to the slides and we can have a look at how you can get in touch. So if you want to access the Cloud Connect community that you saw where you could post and there was the leaderboard, then that link there, bit.ly/GEG community, will get you straight into that. If it doesn't let you in, that would mean that for whatever reason, you're not on our list as an active GEG leader. So we just need to remedy that by getting in touch, and the way to get in touch will be there in a moment. Obviously, you can pause and watch it back if you need to. The key information is going to be hosted on the Leader portal. That was the Google site that you saw, and there's the link to access the Leader portal. That's got places, that's got the links to nominate captains. It's got information about GEG captains and what they need to be, and also where you can get in touch with us about if you think that a GEG mentor role would be relevant for your region. And don't forget, that's where the FAQ section is. So any questions you might have around these developments, we've gone into a bit more detail on the FAQ section of that site. So there are the 2 links. Any trouble accessing the community, please fill in that form that you can access via the bit.ly/community request. So Justin Lackout will be picking that up and we'll be able to give you access if you should have it and you don't. And more generally, we have got an email. So gegprogram@gmail.com is where you can drop us a line as a GEG leader or anyone interested in GEG related stuff, where you can get in touch, ask us questions, and we can pick up any specific issues that aren't necessarily addressed by the portal, or if you don't have access to it and you feel that you need it. There is the whistle-stop tour of that information. So what I wanted to do now was take an opportunity to see if there are any questions. So if you do have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat and we can pick those up right now. Obviously, you can always add them subsequently, and we'll be monitoring the comments so we can pick up any questions that come up after that as well. Just while I wait for if there are any questions, I just want to reiterate that you don't have to have GEG captains. You don't have to have a GEG mentor for your region. But what we found is that GEGs with a wider leadership structure are the ones who've been able to put on more events, to have a more engaged community. So that's really the bit we want to stress, is that if you are slogging by yourself within GEG community as a leader, and you would like to grow it, then we strongly advise that you look at some of the leadership capacity options. And we're more than happy to support in getting your community to the most active and interesting point it can be. Okay. So I think that leaves me without any questions at the moment. That either means that I've answered all of them, or you just rather do it through a different medium, which is fine. So obviously, thank you to people who've watched live. Really interested to see how many people pick it up after this and pick up with it. And don't forget, if you've painfully watched this where Spanish is your first language, there is a Spanish version coming up on the 17th of August. And once again, if you would like to redeliver this in a language relevant to your own context, then just get in touch using that same email I showed a moment ago. I'll just put it back up, gegprogram@gmail.com. And we can talk about translating the information into your own language and giving you the opportunity to deliver that. Okay, I'll let you all get back on with, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, your summer vacation, or if you're watching in the Southern Hemisphere, then obviously thank you for taking the time to have a look during the winter. Really appreciate everyone watching. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.